Welcome back to the Fit Minute Podcast, Fitness for Real People, with your host, Gabrielle Mazar. On today's episode, Gabrielle interviews Ashley Burnham, the Cookie Bar Queen. Learn more about Ashley's healthy and not so healthy sweet things. You have to try them all. And now here's your host, personal trainer and stretch therapist, Gabrielle Mazar.
For you.
Perfect. All right. Welcome back to the Fit Minute Podcast, Fitness for Real People. I'm your host, Gabby Mazar. And on today, I have the one and only Cookie Bar Queen, Ashley Burnham. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for coming on today. I know people are probably thinking, like, why on earth would you have a cookie person on a fitness and health podcast? But there is a reason. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Cookie Bar Queen? What is it?
Yeah. So the whole goal behind the Cookie Bar Queen is to have snacks that satisfy all of your sweet cravings while still legitimately providing fuel for, whether it's a post-workout or it's to keep you going throughout the day at the office. But they are a lot better than a lot of other commercially available products because they are not high in excessive amounts of sugar and carbohydrates like these other ones that are marketed to be super good for you.
Yeah.
And then they also taste homemade. So it's like a double bonus.
Yeah. Instead of like those protein bars that are like 250 calories, but like loads of sugar and just.
Exactly. If you want something in high protein, you're not wanting 30 grams of sugar on top of that.
And you don't want it to taste like cardboard or just
chalk.
They're not good. They're just not good.
No.
Protein bars are not my favorite, but you have all kinds of different products that you sell. But first of all, I want to get into how you got into this in the first place. Like, what made you want to start your own business?
It actually started super in a different direction. So I have two kids. I have a son who will be 8 in June and a daughter who will be 6 in July. So when I was a stay-at-home mom, I was breastfeeding and I was going to like all the moms groups and hanging out with everybody. And when I found out that lactation cookies existed, I was like, well, I'm going to try these and see if they work. And they totally worked like really, really well. Like I got to the point where I was like donating hundreds of ounces of milk to like other babies.
So for non-moms, what is a lactation cookie?
They are cookies that have special ingredients that promote breast milk production.
Okay.
The main ingredients that help with that in these are brewer's yeast and oats and flax. So those are like the active ingredients, if you will. And they are super nutrient dense and they just help your milk come in more aggressively. And then it also makes it a lot more nutritious for the baby, which is great.
Cool. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what I started doing just at home for those. And then I had so many people who were like, hey, so my husband's like stealing all my cookie bars. Is that okay? Like, can he just eat them? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's not going to cause like spontaneous lactation or I'd be a billionaire. But he was like, well, do you think you can make them have less carbs and maybe more protein? And so that's when I started experimenting with the protein powder in the cookies. And once I started offering those as a product, it kind of like surpassed those. There aren't as many people breastfeeding as there are who just like eat cookies and are alive. Yeah. So I started doing the protein cookies all the time and then just bringing the lactation cookies. And then that just took over everything. Started jumping into, I did the farmers markets at the very beginning with both products. And then it just grew from there.
That's pretty cool. So what kind of protein cookies, protein bars do you make? Like what flavors?
So our most popular flavor is pretty standard peanut butter chocolate chip. It tastes like you took a batch of your favorite peanut butter chocolate chip cookie dough and pressed it into a pan like brownies rather than cooking it like cookies. So every piece is like a middle piece. They're really soft. They're really moist. Sorry if anybody hates that word. But So like the peanut butter chocolate chip is really great. We also have a peanut butter brownie that's a lot more decadent tasting. So it's really great for that like chocolate craving, sweet craving at like 9 p.m. kind of thing. I have a couple that are super breakfasty. There's a blueberry carrot zucchini bar that has gluten-free oats in it. And so it has all the shredded veggies, plus it still has the plant-based protein in it. So you're getting like a double whammy there. And then there's zucchini walnut that's really popular. It's like carrot cake mixed with zucchini bread. So it has like all the warm cinnamon. It's partially sweetened with applesauce. It's delicious. Those are like the main ones that I bring to the market every weekend. And then I have seasonal flavors like a spiced pumpkin that's really awesome that I actually brought to the market today. That, by the way, I sold out everything at the farmer's market today. It was lovely.
That's great.
Yeah, lots of seasonal flavors. So it's good. I try to mix it up a little bit, but all of them are still like useful. Like, like carrots and zucchini are good for you.
Yeah.
So
what kind of ingredients do you use? Because everything you do is gluten-free. It's low glycemic index, so which would be good for like diabetics.
Exactly.
So what kind of ingredients do you substitute instead of using like flour and eggs and butter?
So for like the flour, I actually use pea protein isolate. When I first started the company, I was using soy protein, and that actually, for anybody who wants to try baking with protein powder, soy protein is really great to bake with. I just was trying to avoid soy because so many people are, not wanting it for like inflammatory reasons and things like that. So I switched to the pea protein. And so I just sub that out pretty much cup for cup for what you would normally do for flour. And then I use a sweetener called erythritol, which is really great. It is basically a granulated form of like a sugar alcohol, but it doesn't cause all like the dietary issues that like some others do, like xylitol and things like that. And so mixing that with organic sugar gets the sugar content down really low while still having like the taste of the sweetness in there that you're like craving.
Yeah.
And then, they don't really need any additional fat when they have the nut butters in them. So that's really nice because all the fats that are in the bars are like useful for your body because it's coming from nuts and, well, I guess some of it's chocolate, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll say that's good for us too.
Chocolate in small amounts, and it's not, it's not bad. There's no such thing as bad foods, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, for people that are allergic to nuts, so you're talking about nut butters, do all of your products have nut butters or nuts in them?
No. So the blueberry carrot zucchini bar, the peppermint brownie, we have a double fudge brownie that's nut free. The spiced pumpkin's nut free. There's a few that are nut free entirely. And then there's some that are just like peanut free, like the zucchini, carrot, and walnut. Of course, has walnuts, but there's no peanuts in that recipe.
Yeah.
And then I think that's about it for those ones. There's a bunch of them that are grain free entirely, which is nice because I do have the gluten free oats in a couple of them, which gives them like that nice kind of cakey consistency. But the other ones are all entirely grain free. So like the peanut butter brownie, peppermint brownie, all those ones. So they're really smooth in your mouth. It's nice.
Nice. So looking at your website, or like your Instagram, you see a lot of your products, words, a lot of your products, and they look so good. Some of them are like the scones.
Yeah.
Like,
so those are not healthy.
Okay. So that's what I was going to ask. If all of this stuff is healthy, you do have some stuff that's just like sweets, like normal sweets that people would eat. So
when I first started, that was not part of the agenda.
Okay.
That's like a brand new recent establishment. At the beginning of this year, this coffee shop called the Buzzed Goat that's in Ahwatukee reached out to me and they asked if I could take over their baking for them. And I was like, sure, I would love that because I love baking and it would be nice to, switch it up, make some unhealthy things, get to be a little bit more creative. And then when I started offering them there and, of course, promoting it on my Instagram, all of my customers were like, excuse me, why don't we get any of these scones? So I talked to the farmer's market about bringing them and they, of course, were super okay with that. Yeah. And
Some
so
of
they've been
them,
going over really well. Everybody's favorite scones for sure.
they look delicious. There's like a blueberry lemon drop, bourbon peach, raspberry mojito, and cookies and cream.
Oh yeah.
And again, they're not healthy, but they look amazing.
Those are vegan though.
Oh, hey, there you go. So that's a plus.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that you try to reach a bunch of different people by doing the vegan, by doing the gluten-free, but still doing the fun things. They're all fun, so I shouldn't
Yeah,
say that.
like
But
the real stuff.
yeah, because um sometimes you just need some sweets. But for
Yeah,
the person
exactly.
who has the sweet tooth, um so with your products, do you what do people say about like the gluten-free ones, and how different are they from, say, like your cupcakes or your um muffins than like normal with flour with the traditional ingredients?
I have a lot of people who say that they don't taste like they're gluten free. Like they're like a gluten free item typically, like not totally from my experience, because I know some other pretty good gluten free bakers, but a lot of other gluten free items are like crumbly and dry. And these, you bite into it and you're like, oh my God, it's still doughy in the middle.
Especially
So
when
that's
you
always
bake it yourself.
exactly.
I've
And so that's what I
tried.
get as feedback a lot, is that the moisture level is a lot better. They also have a ton more flavor, I feel like, and from what I have been told, than a lot of other baked goods that are supposed to be good for you. So, but honestly, I attribute that just to like a little extra pinch of salt. So,
Just probably salt is great. Um
yeah.
I I've noticed in my baking that when I use like Bob's Red Mill, not that there's anything wrong with Bob's Red Mill, but when I use that or substitute um different like rice flours and whatnot,
Yeah.
it does tend to be a lot drier. So you have to use a
Mhm.
lot more eggs or flax or something to kind of moisten it
Yeah.
up. But it's still just not the same for me when I bake for myself. But there are so many
Yeah.
good gluten-free bakers that you really honestly wouldn't even notice. So that's
Oh,
so
for
what I
sure.
loved about your product, and from people that have told me, is they love your cookie bars. They love your cookie bars. They're so good. You would never know that it's gluten-free, and they're healthier for you. So
Yeah.
that's what I love about that. But so how long have you been doing this? So your kids are 6 and 8. You've been doing this about
Mhm.
6 to 8 years.
So I started kind of just out of my house, kind of hobby like, and then got a little bit more official when my son was about, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 months old. And so at that point, I had this little business called Cookie Bars for Life. And that was essentially the same thing. I had a couple other smaller names before that, but then I didn't trademark them and other people trademarked them. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, that happened, but
Yeah.
it's okay. um, but so I was doing that. And then after my daughter was born, I kind of closed up shop for a couple years to try to like handle family life and get things back on track. And then ultimately I ended up getting divorced. And so I was like, well, I guess I should probably figure out some sort of income. And I was like, well, I loved doing the cookies. I still had customers reaching out to me all the time. And I was like, I'm just going to go for it. And so I kind of took some of what I learned from like the first go around of everything and restarted everything with more of like aiming towards the protein cookies and then just still offering the other cookies as well.
Yeah.
Um, and then it just like took off from there. I was in markets, I was doing events, I was doing conventions, I was, and it was just going all over the place. I was like, this is exactly how I wanted it.
I love it. Where do you think you'll go from here? Do you have any like growth or any new products or anything that you're looking into?
So I have a couple things. I would really like the scones to get into some more like upscale stores just because they're so pretty. And with the fact that they don't have any dairy or egg in them, that's just so helpful for so many people.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about if you're hosting a brunch event, probably half the people there are going to be either actually lactose intolerant or for whatever reason of their own choice avoiding dairy.
Or allergic to
So
eggs, or
yeah,
have to be gluten-free, or have
exactly.
autoimmune disease. There's
So you just have
so
to be
many
like,
things.
well, and everybody wants to like kind of try to accommodate everyone. You don't want to invite people over for a party and have nothing that they can have. So that helps. But so I want to try to get them into like stores like that. I really enjoy doing like the really big events, like when there are like CrossFit competitions and gymnastics competitions. I go and set up as a vendor or go as a sponsor, and those are really, really great. So just continuing to do things like that. I was just ranked in the top 25 women to watch in Phoenix Entrepreneurs magazine for this year.
Woohoo, that's amazing.
Yeah. So trying to grow more into that. That's kind of fun, like opening a magazine and being like, oh, it's me. That's cool.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you do, like you said, you do events, you do farmers markets, you do the Uptown Farmers Market every Saturday. That's the
Every
one,
Saturday. Yeah.
Bethany Home and Central.
Yeah. It's on Central Ave in Bethany Home, and it's every Saturday. Right now in this part of the year, it's 8 to 1. And then in the summertime, usually like middle of May, we go from 7 to 12 so that nobody's coming to the market and melting. Also, we move indoors. We're one of the only markets to go inside.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot they did that. What other types? So do you do like, would you do like catering events and
Yeah.
like
So
birthday parties, maybe like baby
I do
showers?
tons of, yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. All the lactation cookies for like the postpartum kind of stuff too. But so I do catering events with some local private chefs. And then I also just supply, pastries for events and things like that. I also do some wholesaling to some stores here. Like there's this place in North Scottsdale called Fresh Box, and they have like more of like, you know, really cool salads and like shakes and acai bowls and things like that. So they have a little grab and go area of healthier options that are locally made. So you can just go and grab a cookie bar when you're grabbing your lunch and then take it with you, and that can be like a thing. And then I also do, of course, the stuff for the buzzed goat. And then depending on what's happening, like there's some like gyms that carry them, but with COVID, there's been a lot of them that have not been so open lately. So there've been some changes with that, but
Well, I think now that like my place personally is starting to pick up, so now would be a good time too to go around to those places and maybe try and market to them again. I mean,
exactly.
we've picked up this month, gosh, like more than 20% for over the last few months. So
Oh, that is awesome.
so it's
I feel like the
nice.
farmers market has been a lot busier. Like, I mean, I sold out of everything with well over an hour left of the market today. And this time last year, when everything was first shutting down, I mean, it
You would be
was
left with
nothing.
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's definitely good to see. And I think people also, now that we're kind of going back in a positive direction and cases are going down and
Mhm.
people have put on like the COVID-15 or
Yeah.
just been lazy. I know it's really difficult when people are working from home to be motivated. So
Yes.
having healthier options too to kind of get back into the swing of things
Mhm.
really helps. So
Exactly. Especially that are convenient.
yes, definitely. So I saw on your website you can purchase online.
Yeah. I ship
Um,
all over the country.
Perfect. That's what I was going
So
to
if you
ask.
don't live here, you're super covered and I will still feed you.
Perfect. And you do also offer a 20% off your first order. It's CBQ20.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to try, maybe I can convince you to do like a tasting at my place.
Let's do it.
Wink,
Sign me
wink.
up. I'll bring treats.
I know everybody always loves treats. So, but yeah, I love the idea of providing kind of healthier options. And even though you still have sweets that still have sugar, it's giving the option of the dairy free, the egg free, the soy free even, because like you said, a lot of people can't have soy, especially women when they start to go
Mhm.
through menopause, shouldn't be having as much soy.
Exactly.
And a lot of protein powders have soy in them.
It's like the
So
main ingredient in so many plant-based proteins.
exactly. So when you're consuming, let's say 1 or 2 or 3 a day, you're just pumping yourself full of soy.
Exactly. And then you're like,
And
why am I so fluffy?
exactly. And for somebody that has autoimmune disease as well, there's a lot of things that you can't have or shouldn't have, even though we probably still have them, myself
Of
included,
course.
like coffee. I'm never
Right.
getting rid of that. But having those options is fantastic. So tell me a little bit more um, about your website and how to order online, and you ship all over the US, you said.
Yeah, so I ship everywhere. I have it kind of set up to where you right from the get-go are like, what do I want right now? Do I want protein cookies? Am I a nursing mom? Am I wanting sweet things right now? And then that kind of takes you to the whole category of what kind of you're looking for. And then from there, you can like select your flavor. It has pictures of everything. I do have the nutrition information for all the protein cookies that are on there,
Oh, awesome.
and the ingredient lists. So you can see if there's any ingredients you're trying to avoid, all the carb counts, macros, and everything like that. So you're good. And then I don't have that for the unhealthy things because why?
Because they're unhealthy anyway, so why bother?
I know,
Yeah.
seriously. It's like, I don't know. It's probably like 20 grams of sugar in a scone, maybe.
If you're going to indulge though, and one of the things that I try to promote more than anything is everything in moderation.
Exactly.
It's okay to have a scone once in a while. It's okay to have sugar. It's okay to have honey or whatever it is, a chocolate that kind of satiates you. It's not something you do every single day, but the protein
Yeah,
bars is something that you can do every single day because
exactly.
you're getting those healthy ingredients, you're getting the higher protein, you're getting, with your muffins, you're getting some vegetables, which is great. But
Exactly.
yeah, so then you go through, you can order and you can order as much as you want and you
Mhm.
ship it. Does it have to be cooled?
So they can be at room temperature for about a week. So for shipped orders, I typically recommend tossing them in the fridge and then they can last like a couple weeks in the refrigerator. What a lot of people like to do is shove everything in the freezer.
Yeah.
And then, so if you're going to take a cookie bar to the gym with you, or if you're going to take it to work or something like that, you just throw it in there when it's frozen. And then whenever you feel like having it, it's ready to go, whether it's still partially frozen or whether it's totally soft and at room temperature, or whether you forgot it in your car for 2 hours and it's kind of melted and it tastes like I just baked it.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's about a week
Mhm.
just on the
Yeah, just like
counter.
any typical baked good, just because I don't use preservatives in them.
Uh-huh.
I'm not into that.
Me neither.
Yeah, nobody needs those extra random things.
Nope.
So, and then yeah, you just toss them. A lot of people like to eat them while they're still cold. I have some of the flavors are really good if you microwave them for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Like the zucchini, carrot, and walnut. It's like cinnamon roll. It's delicious.
What's your most popular item, just of all of your items?
Um, the peanut butter chocolate chip protein cookies for sure. Like no contest.
Okay.
Because those are in pretty much every wholesale order. Every gym that has them will carry them. Every event, like everybody who likes peanut butter will gravitate to the peanut butter one. I have some people who come to the market every weekend and they get a 2-week supply of peanut butter chocolate chip cookies every Saturday for them and their spouse, and they never waver from a different flavor, just always peanut butter.
I think most people, if they can have peanut butter, love peanut butter and chocolate.
Yeah,
It's kind of just a staple. It just
it's
is.
a pretty ultimate combination.
Yeah.
I also do sometimes edible cookie dough cups of the protein cookie dough. So
Ooh.
since it doesn't have any egg or dairy or flour in it, it is safe to eat raw. And so I do these little tubs that the nutrition content is the same as a cookie bar of the same flavor. So those ones are really great. You can just eat them right out of the tub, or some people will bake them like halfway and then have it with some like oat ice cream or cashew ice cream or something, like a little pizookie.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. See, all
Oh
these
yeah.
fun things you can do with healthy
See, yeah, and then you trick your brain, and you're like, no,
healthier.
this is totally dessert right now.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, if somebody wants to find you or find your website is thecookiebarqueen.com.
Yes.
And then they can follow you. Where can they find you on like social media platforms?
So I do have Instagram, and that's also just at the Cookie Bar Queen. Same thing with Facebook, at the Cookie Bar Queen everywhere. And I mean, everything that's on Instagram just auto posts to Facebook anyway. So,
yeah.
But
Same.
I always have all the flavors that are brand new. Like as I'm creating them, I'll post videos. I also just like to cook other things. So sometimes in my stories, I'll post step-by-step recipes of like, some teriyaki marinated salmon and things like that. So if you're just wanting to like pick up some recipes, that can happen too.
Cool. That's nice. That's fun. So they can follow you at the Cookie Bar Queen on Instagram. They can watch your stories and find you on Facebook, and then buy all of your products and have them shipped wherever.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. Anything else that you want people to know about your products and where you're at? And
I mean, just keep shopping local. I mean, that's, I think, one of the biggest things right now is that our farmers market community seems like it's like been growing a lot, because everybody's like, well, our local people need us, and everything, local too. It's going to be more fresh. It's going to be really thoughtfully sourced. And so that's a good thing. That's always a good message that I want to send out.
Yeah. Supporting your community and people around you, and helping everybody grow and prosper the best possible thing you can do. Awesome.
What we're here for.
Yeah. All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, you can find her on Instagram or Facebook, or you can chat or email her from her website at thecookiebarqueen.com. Exactly. And thank you so much for coming on today. And we're going to have to set up something so that I can have some people try your
Let's do it.
products.
I'll bring all the snacks. It'll be great.
Love it.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Maybe I'll bring some ice cream too, and we can make some sundaes or something.
Ice cream sandwiches.
The best. Cool.
Right.
Well, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks everybody for listening, and hope you enjoy some sweets later and finding her everywhere. So have a great week, and we will see you all next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much for listening to the Fit Minute Podcast, Fitness for Real People, with your host, Gabrielle Mazar. If you would like more information on today's episode, you can find it in the show notes, or you can find it on Gabrielle's website at www.healthybodyworksaz.com. Be sure to share the show, give this podcast a review, and subscribe so you won't miss an episode. Join us next week to hear more stories from people just like you. This has been the Fit Minute Podcast, Fitness for Real People, with Gabrielle Mazar.